How long you think it was gonna take before we got here? Now you gotta prove yourself all over again. Come on.
Ain't nobody coming, I've been gunning from 100 yards, trying to hit my mark, missing every time. This'll be the start of the picture perfect. Watch you.
Hello, Mr. Charles. A little bit of a late start. All of these damn late scratches always throwing me to a miss, because it would be one thing if they're scratching out of horses I didn't pick, but it seems like if I pick it, you're scratching.
Yep, that was me too. So, yep, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Yesterday, Charles had a pretty nice day. Tell us a little bit about how your day went at the track.
Well,
you played the all button key. You played the all button very well.
Well, yes, it finally it paid off. I mean, what was it, an $18 horse? So I wish it was a little higher, of course, but hey, I'll take it. I hit the late pick 4, and of course, with my best bet coming in, that really was my single. So that was the perfect thing for the perfect storm, right?
Yeah, well, it worked out well for you. You got kind of a little lucky, I have to say, because I don't think that horse that won, your best bet, was the best horse in that race. I think the other horse was a little bit better, but as they came down the stretch, he started looking around a little bit.
Yeah,
got that head cocked off to the side, and then once the other horse passed it, then it straightened back out again and started to re-rally. If the jockey would have been able to keep that horse's head straight, it would have been a much tougher, I think, act for that horse to come home as the winner. But hey, doesn't matter how they get to the finish line. When they put the money in your bank account, it all counts the same, right?
That's right. It sure does.
All right. So we're a little bit behind today because of all those scratches. Let's get cracking. Talk a little bit about our show last night a little bit later on in this show. Race number 1, Charles, 6 furlongs, maiden claiming 20,000. Is that about as low as they go at Keeneland, Charles?
I think so. At Keeneland, it does. Yes.
Yes. So this is a purse of 43 grand. They are going to trek 6 furlongs on that dirt course, which is listed as fast today. Early speed does win. So far, 33%, 4 out of 12 went wire to wire. The rail and 8 and out. So you get barbell bonuses. 2 and 3 play fair. 4 and 7, pretty good discount. Our early speed here, Charles, belongs to the 7 Platinum Ghost in our 1,000 simulations for early speed, for odds, and then to get a sense of who's going to get the best trip according to the pace of this race.
Yes, the 7's got a 57% chance of having that lead at the quarter pole. With the 4, push them along, probably around 20% should have the lead at the quarter pole. So those 2 will for sure be out there running. When it comes to simulation odds, we're looking at that 5, actually the 4 first, 6-1, and the morning line is 10-1. And then we got the 5 next, slightly over 2-1, and the morning line is 4.5-1. And of course, you got that outside post, the 8, just slightly under even money, and we got just over even money on the morning line.
And then as we look at the way to the winner's circle worksheet here, we see that in the first race, we don't have any scratches. We have some others. I didn't get a chance to knock out the scratches here, but so far, pretty much none of these horses have been close. The only one that's shown any interest early on is the 8 horse. Although when we look at that early speed, look out for that 7. That 7 looks like it could have some juice when the gates open. Doesn't look like it had much juice at the end of its races, though, really tailing off kind of badly there. As far as a complete picture is concerned, 4 Valuable Cargo is one that might actually do pretty well in here today. 10-1 morning line, now 5-1. Some bettors finding some value in the 4 horse. Charles, where do you find value?
All right. Well, we got 3 minutes to post. So I like the 8. He drops in class, cuts back in distance. Trainer gets 16% going from route to sprint. The 5 is my second choice. Another one that cuts back in distance. Third start after a layoff. Drops. Nick Zito. What's the story there? I think that's another discussion we could have for at least an hour. What is happening? The 4 is my third choice here. It drops in class. Trainer gets 25% going from maiden to maiden claiming. Tries the dirt. And, of course, he's a first-time gelding. And then the 7 drops in class. First-time gelding also gets the blinkers off today. And he does have some speed, as we've already indicated.
And then you're going to start off with a 50-cent try box, eh? In your $100 budget, you're going to spend 12 of it right away.
Right away. All 4 of my picks, try box.
In the first race, I'm going to start with a little bit of a price here. Valuable Cargo is that maiden special weight dropper, a little bit of an overlay according to our simulation odds. You know that the maiden special weight to maiden claim, you're going from the top to the bottom. That's a pretty big drop here for Valuable Cargo. The debut was good relative to the rest of these horses, and 2 nice workouts since that were pretty good. Number 8, Manchester, best speed numbers and most consistent speed numbers as well. So horse, it looks like it's a pretty strong overlay, although we got to worry a little bit about not getting towards the lead. Also have to worry a little bit about maybe that trip might not be the most favorable. The 3 horse, you have a Wesley Ward horse. I don't think you really need to add much more to that at this particular meet at Keeneland. He's been dominant. Finally, Platinum Ghost did flash a lot of early speed in its last race, which was its debut. I think it could be stronger in the second race up. That's a 30-1 shot. Good, strong chance to be on the lead. And let's see if a cleaner start helps him live up to that high C-zone score. I'm going to do a pick 3. I'm going to put all 4 of my horses in there like you, Charles. The 9-10 and then the 3-4 in the next 2 legs. As you mentioned, the first race, because of our little bit of a delayed start, is pretty close to going off, Charles. Let's see what the...
they're walking towards the gate right now.
Yeah, so we probably have a little bit of time to set up race number 2. What do you think?
Oh, go for it. Well, no,
they're going into the gates now. So no time for race number 2. So we'll just.
But we can't talk about Zito. What is the story with Zito? He's a Hall of Famer, and all of a sudden he fell off the face of the earth. He can't get a winner, even if he paid people to leave the race.
I guess people like Joe DiMaggio and some of your greats have losing streaks too. I mean, even as Tom Brady got older, at times he looked less than Brady-esque. So maybe he's just. Maybe just times have gotten by him a little bit. That can happen, right?
Well, you're a trainer. You're not the actual athlete out there. You're actually, I don't, if he's getting some decent bred horses. I mean, I don't know their quality, as they get on the track, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, every trainer goes through that part of it. I just don't understand, man. You go from basically a hero to a zero within a couple of years. That's pretty drastic, if you ask me.
Yeah, that can happen, I think. I mean, that's possible, right?
Yeah, I guess it is.
So it looks like the first race is about to get started, and out the gates they go. And it looks like the 1 horse on the rail, along with I'm going to guess that's the 6 horse out there on the outside. Yes.
Yeah.
The 6 horse, all jokes aside, did have a shot to be on the lead according to our simulated odds. So the 6 horse is definitely taking the lead, and then you have the 2 and the 3 coming up. The 1 horse is kind of tailed off a little bit. You have a nice little bit of gap, about a 1 horse to the rest of the field, which looks like it includes the 8, the 2, and the 4. They're all trying to make up ground on that 6 horse who blasts through the opening quarter in 22 and a half seconds. So really not that fast. 3 horse now is moving up alongside the 6 horse, making its try here at 5-2, turning out to be the favorite for that Wesley Ward horse. The 7 horse, that long shot's trying to swing wide. The question is, can the 3 horse go by the 6? The 6 is digging in, trying to hold off the 3. The 3 is cocking its head to the side. And on the rail, we have the 8 horse sneaking up. Yeah, which is going to be one of your favorites, right?
Yeah, and he's probably going to win it.
The 8 and the 3 were co-favorites at 5-2. Although the 3 horse, you always know you're screwed, Charles, when your horse turns its head sideways. Do you know what I'm saying?
Not always, but yeah.
Oh, I have yet to see a horse turn its head sideways coming down the lane and win.
Yeah.
It might happen if the horse is 10 lengths ahead of everybody else, but when they're dueling and they start looking around for other horses, it's almost always a sign to me you're done.
Yeah, because even the 7 was trying to lug out a little bit. He was trying. But the 7 was moving, but he was trying to lug out. So that was the problem with the 7 in this race. I can tell you that.
Same with the 3. I think it's the only reason the 3 horse didn't catch that race right there. But we do see that the overlay did come out. And, this one really was an overlay on that 8 horse because the morning line was 8 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
The simulated odds said the horse should be closer to 4 to 5. And the thing actually went off at 2 to 1. So that was a really good bet in terms of the way the simulated odds stand out. You got a lot more value than the horse is speed figure said you should have gotten based upon 1,000 simulations. So good luck with your picks the rest of the way. Hopefully we can get through this pick 3, Charles. I think it's going to be kind of chalky now. I was kind of hoping maybe that 7 horse or 4 horse would hit for me. Just didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I did the trifecta too, trying to hit a little bit of hopefully a price maybe.
So race 2 is 5.5 furlongs. It's on the turf. This one is a maiden. Special weight again, Charles, for $80,000. Too many first-time starters in here for us to work our way through the simulations or the pace setup and all that sort of stuff. So with that, we'll just go straight to picks. And, the 6 and the 8 scratching out of this race, I think make a little bit of difference in how this one plays out.
Yeah, this one was kind of an interesting race to try to handicap, when it came to how you're going to pick it. There was not much to go off of, like
Well, all
usual.
first-time starters for the most part, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
you
but
gotta
even
go off the works.
nothing was jumping out and grabbing me, and saying, "Hey, I'm the winner," type of thing. Probably the 10 came the closest to that, so that's why I have the 10 on top.
Sorry about that, folks. I'm usually not that popular, but I guess I am today.
Usually,
must owe somebody money or something.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It must be. I don't know.
It's my attorney. He's calling you.
Yes.
Anyway,
He's trying to figure out how to, all the back money you owe me for putting that face
is that
on
what
the
it is?
show.
We're trying to settle out of court. So the 10 is my top choice here. This horse is bred for turf. Ward, it's his horse, so not much more we can say.
Wesley Ward at this track, he's been killing it.
First-time starter, he gets 30%. You got IRAD. I think that's the only reason this horse is going to be on top, and that's the one.
And it's going to be overbet.
Yeah, it's going to be overbet.
It ain't going to be 2 to 5.
And he's definitely
5 to 2. It might be 2 to 5. Might be inverse on those numbers. Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be stupid. But the rest of the race, I think, is 100% wide open. So I got the 4 as my second choice here. This horse is bred for this. You got some solid works in this horse. Weaver, which is another great trainer. He gets 12% with first timers. I know that is not Ward like, but that's probably more average like when you're a good trainer. Mm-hmm. The one horse is my third choice. I know this one's I'm reaching for this one a little bit. Got some solid works, but nothing super fast, but just very good, consistent works. So he's probably got a good foundation. Bred for the turf, so that gives him a plus. Trainer gets 11% with first-time starters, so I think this is worth at least a look at. Mm-hmm. The 7, another one, not so super crazy about. Solid works, very well bred, very well. Tyler jumps on, so I think that's what makes you have to really look at this horse even more so.
I go with you on that Wesley Ward horse. Everybody and their brother is going to be on Fandom. Wesley Ward horse, good workouts, making its debut. It's going to be overbet. 9, Laugh Now. I'm going to toss in a bomb with Laugh Now. The last 4 furlong workout, which was 48-4, is a pretty good workout, Charles. That one hints to me that horse is in form. 30-1 morning line. What the hell? Maybe chases that 10 all the way around the track and edges it out at the wire. Number 7, Calhoun, as you mentioned, Tyler Gaffleon jumping on this horse here. Does have a decent workout on April the 8th. Otherwise, looks pretty good on paper. Finally, number 4, Blast Furnace is another first-time starter that does have some pretty good workouts. At least they look better than anything else that's left in terms of picks here. I'm going to do a pick 4. I'm going to go with the 9 and the 10. Certainly hope that the 9 wins at a big price. Then the 3-4, 2-3-7 with the 1, 4, 5, and 9. But I have a feeling that 10 horse could be tough to beat. Just hope that the 9 is chasing it and the 10 turns its head to the side down the lane. Like to see that replay, at least with the 9 horse coming up on that regard. Race number 3, this one, 7 furlongs about. There's the asterisk there. They're not quite sure exactly how far they're going to run. So far at the about 7 furlongs for this maiden $100,000 race. 3 of the 4 winners went wire to wire, Charles. So maybe speed is the key here. You had 2 of them make that wire to wire trip on the rail, and certainly looks like Patience Worth has a little bit of early speed, maybe can make it another. You had another one that won from 2 and 3, and then another one that won from 4 through 7. So for the most part, it looks like the inside 3, at least through the first 4 races, is the place to be. In race number 3, Charles, our 5 horse Motown Mayhem taking the day off. Otherwise, it looks like just about everybody has some chance to try to find the lead.
Yeah, a lot of these horses have at least something of some speed somewhere. And the 7 has got a 48% chance of having that lead at the quarter pole. But, maybe the 4 might have a say in that. Depends how they actually break out of that gate, who really gets that. The 4 has a 23% chance of having that lead at the quarter pole. I think, but the ones that we do say is the question is, can they hang on at 7 furlongs? And the simulation odds, the one is 3-1, and the morning line is 6-1. So there's a nice overlay right there. And then we have the 4, another one slightly under 2-1. We got over 3.5 to 1 on the morning line, so that's not too bad. And then we got that 7 with slightly over 7 to 1, and we have the morning line at 15 to 1.
Yeah.
Hello. Okay, I guess I'm still in the show. I don't know what happened to Rich. I don't know if you could hear me or what. But anyway, I'm going to keep on going here. I'm going to text him real quick and see what's going on. And see what's happening here. Meanwhile, we'll go back here. We'll go back to the third race here. So in this race, I personally like the 2-horse. This horse ran third last time out. They put the blinkers on today with this horse. He was very off a little on the slow side last time out. Cox gets 25% when it's first time blinkers. So let's keep an eye on that horse. I think this horse will be pretty tough. And on our simulation board here, he has a 25% C zone. I know you can't see that right now, but he's pretty comfortable in this distance. And I think this horse will do something. The 4 has some speed. He ran third last time out. You got the Mott and Irad combo. That's a pretty good combo. If you remember correctly on this, the 4 was one of them that had speed at 23% chance.
Me there, Charles.
Huh?
I'm not quite sure where I went there. I was talking. Next thing I know, I see on my computer something went wrong. That cigar.
Yeah, you were gone. So I was going through my picks. So I'm like,
there we go. I'm saying I think we might regret not having the 6-horse in our picks, Charles, because when you look at the pace, it does have the best early speed and best late speed. We might reconsider putting that 6 somewhere in our selections. Yeah, I didn't even run off to the bathroom. I just had an internet and went to the bathroom. I guess.
Yeah, go now.
All right, Charles. So what do you think for the third again? Where are you at? Let me get back.
I was just giving my picks. I was just starting them with my picks. Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Finish up.
All right. So I already gave my first and my second pick, the 2 and then the 4. And then the third pick is the 3. The Dam gets has 1 winner and out of 2 starters. Solid work tab. Tyler's aboard. You got a hot jockey trainer combo in the last 14 days, so you cannot dismiss this duel. And then the 1 has some speed to at least keep up. He was well bet last time out. Ran second the last 3 times, so he's been knocking on the door. So he's another one that has at least some talent to keep up, and his C zone is very, very good. The top C zone in this whole group, so it puts him right there in the thick of things.
I'm probably going to regret not having the 6-horse in my picks. Does have a little bit of a shot to get to the lead. Does have that top early speed, top late speed combination. That's a tough one to kind of ignore. Oof. Anyway, I'm going to go with the 3-horse Union Harmony. Not the best first-time starter numbers for trainer Brendan Walsh, but the last 2 workouts were really pretty good. The 4-horse Mililou, solid chance to be on the lead with a very strong C-zone score. Overlay as well there. The 2-horse, Arden's Assault, was decently bet in its debut. Did get off to a sluggish start. Perhaps today they get it off to a little bit quicker start. Did show a lot of energy at the end of that race, so a better start. And Arden's Assault might live up to that morning line status. Patience Worth does have the overlay here, 6-1 morning line, 3-1 in terms of our simulated odds. Very strong C-zone score as well. And when you put that horse on a fast track, it's done so 4 times with a trio of thirds. So does like the fast footing. I'm going to go trifecta 3-4 with the 2-3-4 with the 1-2-3-4 and 7 and cross my fingers that 6-horse doesn't come bite me in the rear end. Whenever you do this, you always pay a price. But I'm going to do this, Charles. I'm going to change the 7 to the 6 in the back end there. After reviewing that top speed, early, top, late, those horses a lot of times are very difficult.
You do know what's going to happen now, right?
Yeah, I just put the 7 in the winner circles. Exactly what I did. Yeah. I know.
You know you did, right?
Well, that's good for the people who backed the 7. All right, in race number 4, which is where we're headed to next. You got a bunch of scratches. You saw all that red there. Back to 6 furlongs, claiming 20,000 non-winners at 2 lifetime for a purse of $43,000. Again, early speed, a third of the horses win gate to wire. You have that barbell bonus, the rail, and 8 and out. Outperform everything in the middle, although 2 and 3 do kind of play close to fair. Charles, with all of these scratches in race number 4, doesn't look like it really bounced out a lot of speed except for the 10 horse, which was in my picks along with the 9. So I had to scramble and do everything all over again. Does look like now that 2 horse is a huge beneficiary.
Yeah, the 2 is really going to benefit a lot. I mean, it was actually, believe it or not, it was even huge that the 9 was scratched because I think it had more speed than everything was indicating. The 2. It's 46 right now, but that probably jumped up at least another 15 more points on that. So you're probably looking at, in the 60s, close to 60s percent chance of having that lead. And I don't know who else would go out there and push him, to be honest with you. The simulation odds, well, do we have anybody left? That'd be the
looks like
11.
an 11 horse.
11 is one of them at basically 7-1. The morning line is 20-1. And guess what? I have that horse in my picks. He does have a nice little overlay. Has a little bit of a shot.
I think a good chance that horse will be 7-1 based upon all the scratches, right? Probably be the 3rd, maybe the 4th favorite in this group.
Maybe right around there.
Yeah, I would suspect that'll be the case. In the 4th race, I'm going to start with the 2 horse, really a huge beneficiary of all the scratches in there. Does have the maiden claiming.
Oh, you're not going to go to your charts?
Oh, yes. I forgot what I'm doing here, Charles.
That bathroom break threw you.
Yeah, everything threw me off. All right, so in this race, we have some scratches. We do have the 4, the 5, the 9, and the 10 are out. So the 10 being out, you do see that the 2 horse does benefit. Now becomes the lone E horse in the race. The 5, this one wants to be a pressure. He's out, so that takes away some of the speed. The 9 was a closer. And then, of course, we have and the 4 horse was a closer. So you took 2 of the speed horses out. That should really benefit the 2 horse. And if we look at the early speed again, 10 being out, the 2 horse now takes the dominant spot up front. Although the 3 horse social mandate will likely keep it company. Sweet Beauty, another closer with some late pace in there that does have that strong late pace, strong early pace combination, could be one to contend with. The 11 horse does have the most late speed, Charles, as far as beginning to middle to end. The 7, Sweet Beauty, might be might have an advantage over quite a few, especially with the 5 horse being out of here. So it has like a 6-point advantage over everybody else. That 7 horse, probably one that you might think about upgrading in your picks because of the way the race shape has changed.
Yeah, but then the race did change, and that's why I did change my picks with the 2 being on top instead of the 7. Because I think he's going to be out there and you got to come and catch him, and that might be the tough task to do. So I'm starting off with the 2. He has the speed, as we just finished talking about. He won last time out, back on dirt. So now everything's kind of going his direction now that with the scratches. The 7, I must admit, it's going to be tough. He's going to be closing, drops in class. Trainer gets 27% first after the claim. Ran 3rd last time out. And then the 11 is my 3rd choice. Tactical speed. Like you said, I don't know about where the odds will be. Between 7 and 10-1 probably be my guess. Has that tactical speed. Will be coming more at the end. Cuts back. He's had 2 months off, but the workouts look solid enough to bring him back. And then the 3 is my final pick. This horse drops in class. Has some speed to keep up at least. 2nd start after a layoff. And I'm going to do a $5 exacta box with the 2 and the 7, just in case that 7 wants to put his nose down right in time at the wire.
Just in case he does that. I think Cammy Cat does come off that. That's the thing for me. It's coming off the maiden claiming $30,000 win. And I'm not the hugest fan of horses that, 6-7 times before they get the W, and then they're going to go back to back. but didn't run the top last race. Speed Figure is going to benefit from all the other speed scratching out of here, and has, one of the strongest, if not the strongest, C-zone scores. So should get a trip where the horse has no excuses. Social Mandate, the 3-horse, is my next selection. Had a pretty bad start in its last race, and still, according to this, is the second likeliest to get to the lead. So I wouldn't be surprised if the 3 really gives the 2 the business when the gates get going, because usually it does get off to a good start. Gets up front in this race. I think it has a shot because I don't expect to be a whole lot of other speed in here. Sweet Beauty is a very consistent performer, dropping in class, and the horse has been in the money 5 out of 8 times at the distance. And then we also saw that it had the best early speed, late speed combination by a 6-point advantage over the next closest horse. So that's a 1-length advantage. Means maybe this horse does win by a length. And then finally, the Puglia. Only win came at 6 furlongs, just like today. Strong works since this horse relocated to Keeneland, so maybe an indication that she likes the course. A budding horse for the course in Sweet Beauty. Trifecta for me, 2-3, 2-3-7 over the 1, 2, 3, 7, and 11. Hopefully that's exactly how that race plays out. Hopefully they all play out exactly like we expect them to play out today, Charles. Race 5 is one of those not 27 stakes races at 1.5 miles, but it is a 1.5 mile race. And so far they've run 4 of them, Charles. They've been evenly split between horses that get to the front and horses that come from off the pace. The 2-horse yesterday came from way off the back, and your all bet, one that neither one of us had, to clean up that pick 4 for you. So, right now with even mix, I don't know that it really much matters in terms of early speed. So you either want the ones with a lot of early speed, Charles, the ones with a lot of late speed. So the early speed looks like it belongs on the outside, sir, for sure.
Yeah, the 47, well, basically 48% chance of having that lead at the quarter pole. I don't think he has to have the lead either. He probably will have it, but I don't think he has to, which means that maybe the 8 might get the lead at 23% chance at the quarter pole. So we'll see how that really turns out when the gates open and how the jockeys feel about this. Simulation odds, it looks like the 5 is about 2-5, and morning line is what, 2.5 to 1. So
about 1 to 2, yeah.
So that's not bad. No. Not a bad layover. And you got the 7 at basically 4 to 1, and the morning line is 10 to 1.
English Conqueror, otherwise known as the Crusaders, right? Mm-hmm. For me, for looking at this race in terms of our race shape in the 5th race, you see the 1 horse here is a early pace type. In that one, couldn't be on the front, couldn't be pilot or co-pilot. Everybody else so far has shown that they want to close in here. The 1 horse, however, unfortunately doesn't have that early speed in there. That belongs to the 9 and the 8. And you mentioned those 2 in the simulators. Those 2 probably duke it out up front. The 1 horse that wants to be up but doesn't need it should be, I think, probably 3rd or 4th. Wouldn't be surprised to see the 9 and the 8 out front. As they come down the stretch, Charles, that 7-horse English Conqueror does have the most late speed, but minus the 9 horse, all of the rest of them are pretty close in there. So, this race is probably going to be one coming into that turn, that final turn as they come home. As far as the early speed, late speed combination, that 4-horse, the pressure closer type, the versatile one, does look like it has a good advantage over the rest of the field, Charles. So how do you see this race playing out when they finally run it and we get to declare a winner?
Well, if the 9 does not have the lead at the quarter pole, I believe he will very shortly after that. And for him to win, he has to probably have a close to a 2-length lead going around the turn for home.
Especially with the way you saw it die off in the
because he doesn't have to stick like some other horses in here. But he does have that speed to get out there in front. So it might be his savior today. The 9 is still my chop choice here. He won last time. He drops in class. Casey gets 13%, 90-plus days. Rosario's aboard. So I think he could go out there and get that lead just enough for that to hold off these closers. I have the 5 as my second choice. Drops in class. He's got that tactical speed, but he's more on the closing side. I think he will probably sit 3rd or 4th and try to make one big run. Tyler's aboard. Maker gets 17% overall. The 4-horse is probably, like we said, probably the main closing one. It drops in class today. Graham Ocean, excellent trainer. 14%, 46 plus days off. And plus you got Johnny V on its back. So, yeah, that's the one that's going to be the danger flying at the end. The 6 is my final choice. One last time out. Todd gets 21% with 46 plus days off. And, of course, you have that Todd and Irad combo. Makes it very dangerous.
Indeed. And you're going to go back with that try box again in here?
Yes, I am. I'm going with the try box because you know what? If the 9 just doesn't want to hang on just quite enough, then one of those 3 closers are really going to get him.
For me, that early speed for the 9, Surf for Sure, is part of the equation, but also the fact that the horse has been working out consistently and solid since its last race in October. But prior to that, it was running in non-graded stakes races up in Canada. Now, they may on paper look like non-graded stakes races for a decent amount of money, but if you know anything about Canada, when you see Queen's Plate on there, that's typically like their version. I know this one ran on turf and stuff like that, but the Queen's Plate series is sort of like their version of the Kentucky Derby and the Triple Crown. So they are top-notch races up in Canada, and that's what the 9-horse Surf for Sure was running in. So hopefully those workouts are an indication that this horse can run at least to this level for sure. Mm-hmm. The Great Wizard, that 4-horse, won the last time. He ran in an allowance race like today, has a pair of seconds and a couple of races at the 1.5 miles. So you know that the horse can handle the distance, certainly can handle the type of race it's running in today in terms of class. It also has the best C-zone score. In fact, the only one with the green C-zone score. Number 1, Kitten Mischief. One that does its best work ordinarily coming off the bench like today. The only time the horse ran at 1.5 miles, it won that race. It was the last time it ran, and that was back in January. And another one with good prep workouts getting ready for today. So hopefully that translates to the track. Take the game from the range to the golf course. Bogey or birdie, the first hole. Want to stay away from those doubles and triples. Number 5, Wicked Fast. That's the Boston horse, I guess. The last 3 races it performed in were all graded stakes races, so it's going to drop in class here. Very consistent performer. The thing I don't like about it is this horse is going to be way, way, way back and then try to rally at the end, although we did see the 2 do that yesterday to close out the racing at Keeneland. Trifecta here, 1, 4, 9 for me with the 4, 9, with the 1, 4, 5, 6, and 9 in race number 5. Still got a few minutes to go to the second race, Charles. So let's go on to race number 6, in which case they're going to run 1 mile and a 16th on the main track. That does favor early speed, Charles. In fact, almost a quarter of the races so far, and this has been one of the more common distances, have been won by horses that go wire to wire. There's a very strong inside 3 bias. 4 through 7 get discounted again. I don't know what it is about those middle horses, but it looks like for whatever reason, the Keeneland track this meet favors the inside and the outside because 8 and out gets a bonus again. Again, speed, Charles, particularly on the inside, does make a difference. We got a couple scratches in here. That 2-horse, She's All Class. She was going to be all about the lead, but not today. So I think Pout might be the one that's all about getting to the front.
Yeah, but I think that 1 might have a lot to say with it too. The 5 has got 22% right now, and the 1 has basically 12%. And I think with that 60% being gone from the 2, I think that's going to split out between those 2 horses. So really, who breaks the gates the best, I think, is going to have the lead at the quarter pole between those 2. Mm-hmm. When it comes to simulation odds, the 1. Slightly over 3 to 1, and we have a morning line of 8 to 1, and then we have the 8 slightly over even money, and we have a morning line of 3 to 1. So those are both pretty good overlays, and we have a lot of horses in here that like that C-zone.
Yeah, in fact, the 2 scratches were the 2 that had the worst C-zones. So everybody else should be very comfortable with the pace of this race, Charles. That C-zone score. I don't know if you were paying attention to it yesterday, Charles, but in race after race after race, C-zone score and overlays, C-zone score or overlays, those horses continue to perform well. And it's something that you can only get here, folks. And we'll soon do our best to make sure that we bring that out in for every track. And when we do, we'll let you know. We have the 2 and the 4 scratched in race number 6. Just wanted to make sure I make a note of that. So let's just cut that, put that there. And then we'll just delete this one altogether. So if they're looking at this race, Charles, you do have the 1 and the 5 is the 2 that want to be up on the front there. according to the early speed here. We got to toss out that 2. It's not in. That means the 5, the 1, and the 5 and the 1 are the ones that are going to get the early lead, although the 7 might fit in there. Reality is most of these horses kind of fit in there, although the 5 and the 1 have a little bit of an advantage over everybody else. Late pays wise, Pentagon and DeJoria, the 2 closers will be coming late. A 3-horse, a closer, doesn't really look like it has the early speed or late speed to really contend a lot, but sometimes they can surprise you, Charles. I would say you're either going to get the winner from one of the early speed horses or one of those 2 closers, although when I do see early speed closers and just one in the middle, like that 7-horse, that lone pressure horse, anytime you see one standing out by itself, a lot of times those horses, Charles, they get great trips and they can come in and shock you. And according to this, the 7 at 20-1 does have a really strong C-zone score. So look out for that long shot.
Yeah, but I'm going to go with the 2 that are going to be closing. The 8 first is my top choice. Ran 3rd last time off, 3rd start after a layoff. We all know by now this is my favorite angle to play. Tactical speed, so I think he can sit closer than probably the 6 can. But he drops in class. And I think he's going to be very dangerous at the end of this race. The 6-horse, one of your closers, hot trainer last 14 days, 2nd start after a layoff. So I think those top 2, that's why I put them in my picks, pick 4. Then the 5 has speed, as we talked about, drops in class, 3rd after a layoff. And the 1, another one with speed, trainer gets 17% with 46 plus days rest. The rail does get 24%, so that kind of boosts him up there a little bit. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the 2 closers over the 2 speed horses. So I think that's how it's going to end. And I'm going to start my pick 4 with my top 2 picks here, going with not just my top 4, but my top 5 picks. And then I'm going to go top 2 picks in the 3rd leg, and then the 4th and final leg, my top 2 picks.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe we should flip it around and put the 1 and 5 up front with some of that speed scratching out there. But Pentagon is running in, claiming for the first time. One of the few that's been running at this level. Most everybody else is moving up in class. Hasn't run on fast dirt yet. So that's, to me, a concern. The horse has been on all weather, mud, and on turf, if I remember correctly. DeJoria, that 8-horse, did run the best speed figure last out and did so with noticeably better fractions. Dropping in class in Charles, as he's mentioned, 3rd start off a layoff, his favorite angle in there. The only other time the horse made it a 3rd time in a 3-race cycle, it looked a lot like the 2nd race. So I think you'll see DeJoria repeat what you saw last out, which again was good enough to win here. Yo Puedo, it was an overlay with that strong C-zone score, does ride that hot rail. 3 maintenance workouts since that last one. And with that 2-horse scratching, a lot less speed to contend with in here. And the same can be said for the 5-horse Pout, another one that probably benefits the most from She's All Class on the sidelines. Likely pace setter again with a really, in fact, I think the strongest C-zone score in the field. That 5-horse might give us a lot of indigestion at the finish line, Charles, if it can get off the easy fractions. 6 and 8 might have a difficult time running that one down in the 6th race. Let's hope that's not the case. If you haven't done so yet and you're joining us for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We have a lot of fantastic content around here. And as we mentioned, a lot of data that you just cannot get anywhere else. The C-zone, the left arrow horses, all that stuff. We'll be bringing more and more of it to the fore as well. So make sure you stay tuned. If you like what you see, the like button on Facebook and YouTube are helpful. It helps us a little bit with their algorithm. So when people search, they'll find us a little bit quicker. We'd appreciate that. In the 7th race, Mr. Charles, today they're going to run 1 mile on the turf, an allowance $110,000. That's the
price. They're entering the gate, by the way.
Oh, they are. Yeah. You know, the funny thing is on my screen, Charles, it says Keeneland HD. I don't have a screen.
Yeah.
It's not showing.
I can't. Yeah, I can't. I mean, I have to watch the TV because I can't pull it up on my screen up here either.
Yeah, it's not working. So why don't you tell us what you see happening? Because on mine, it's the feed is not working.
Yeah.
What are you watching? Like the local TV channel? Or what?
Yeah, on TV. Yeah. Okay, they're out. The 10 went out in front big time, about a length and a half already.
Well, that's the one that we both thought would be that Wesley Ward horse.
Yeah, the 2 sitting second, and it looks like the 3 and the 4 are sitting right there, right behind him. The 10 still got the lead by at least a length. I can't tell who's on the outside there. The 2 and the 3 and the 4 are all coming down. The 4's put his head out for the second place, but he's still 2 lengths behind that 10 horse.
So the 10 horse looking like it's going to take him
jockey sitting still as can be on that horse. You got the 2 and the 4 trying to make a run at him now. They're going around the turn for home. The 10 drifted out just slightly, but no big deal. 10 still cruising. He hasn't even pulled out the whip on the 10. He's gone. So it's battle for second.
He gone.
The 4 are still battling it. Now they just focus in on the 10, so I can't tell you. He could be winning by 20 by now. I don't know. He wins.
You say he's going to win, right?
64, 5, and 2. So
how'd it go?
10, 4, 5, 2, and he won by probably at least 6 or 7.
All right. Well, we thought that 10 horse would go off as the short price. What was his final odds there, Charles, on that? Because on my feed it just says Twin Spire. I mean, it says Keeneland and then like 2009 or something like that.
I know, 3 to 5.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, it's probably were about fair odds for that horse, I would say. No.
And it went to it was 4 or 5.
When it was at 4 to 5, I was thinking that's not that bad, but 3 to 5, yeah. In a first-time starter, you don't know what you're going to get. Yeah, so I have Keeneland HD.200A on my screen. On my feed, so
I was having
not much I can do with that, right?
Yeah, I was having the same thing. That's why I was trying to pull it up somewhere, and it wasn't pulling up.
So, Charles, you said it went 10, 4, and then what came third?
5.
10, 4, and 5. So Charles had the exact ice cold in there. Well, those are the 2 favorites in there. I tried to hit some long shots. I was hoping that 9 horse would show something. And guess what it showed, Charles?
Pretty much nothing.
Absolutely nothing. King nothing. How about that? A little bit of Metallica reference there if you didn't get that one.
Nothing else matters.
Where's your crown?
King of nothing.
Go ahead. What are you going to say, Charles?
I said that's just, where's your crown? King of nothing.
Race 7, 1 mile on the turf, allowance 110,000. We got into cracking into the preliminaries for that. A mile on the turf does tend to favor horses with tactical speed, although, Charles, 4 out of 9 went wire to wire. None of them have done it from the rail or from posts 8 and out. No winners from there. Post number 2 and 3, those have been the ones that produced the most winners. And 4 and 7 have been fair. So inside, outside, the opposite of the dirt course, where the inside and outside do best. On the turf, apparently, you want to be squeezed up in the middle there, Charles. And you should have some speed, too. So in race number 7, our simulator says that the horse with the most speed is in the middle there. Tammy, tap, and tap again.
Tap again. How many taps does she need?
Yeah, well, I can go somewhere with that, but
I know. I
don't want to get in trouble today.
I tried to throw that softball out there to see if you take it. Anyway,
well, she does. She searches for water or oil.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. 33% chance of having that lead at the quarter pole would be that 7. But the 9.
Speaking of which, did you ever, when you were a kid, Charles, did you ever take a stick with the Y and try to go find water and see if it actually worked?
Yes, it does.
It does. All right. Good. Anyway, go ahead.
You have to cut a fresh stick, though. It cannot be a dead.
Can't be a dead one.
Yes, has to be fresh.
So it couldn't be like you. It could be like me. It's got to be a little bit younger, a little bit fresher, not old and stale, is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, but not limp like you, though. So anyway, so
he's going for the
the 9 has a 20%.
Wow. Well, they make medicine for that now, so I'm all right.
They do. Has a 20% chance of having that lead at the quarter pole. But you know what? There is plenty of speed in this race. The 11 might have a say in it, and even the 1 might have a say in this. So there's plenty of speed in this race, but the 7 might most likely get the lead, yes. The simulation odds, when it comes down to that, be the 9, I guess. 9, yep, 9. Slightly over 2 to 1, 20 to 1 morning line. That's a nice overlay. The 11, 10 to 1, 30 to 1 morning line. Can't blink at that too much. That's it when it comes to overlays.
I have to say my screen just came back up on, and they have the 10 horse on the screen. I got to say that's a nice looking horse, Charles.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, I keep an eye on that one. Circle it. Just from the look of it, it looks good. And now, when we were at Hawthorne, I've only made one race where I handicapped just looking on the horses alone, nothing else. And I picked a trifecta almost in order. Race 2, the 10 horse won, my friend, followed by the 4 horse and then the 5. 10, 4, 5, 2 is the order in race number 2 at Keeneland. In race number 7, Mr. Charles, all those outside horses are scratched in here. So you got, I think the only one that stayed back in again, if I remember correctly, let me just look here again, is the 12 to 13. The only one that stayed in was the 14. So as we look at the race shape in race number 7, the 14 is in. So it does have a little bit of early speed. Could be a part of the game there. You got 3 horses that want to be on the lead. Let's see if any of them are going to be on the lead. Tammy Tap Tap comes back to the 4. That pressure horse going to be involved. The closest one maybe to the lead would be the 12th horse. So maybe the 4 and the 14, they might try to jump out to the front, could prove themselves to be cheap speed. As far as the late speed is concerned, Miss Riddler on the debut has one of the strongest late pace scores. Again, pretty tightly bunched up in here. I do think they'll all be coming with some energy at the end. If we wrap the beginning and the middle and the end together, we find out that Miss Riddler on that one race does score out as the top horse in here. A little bit of advantage over Be My Sunshine. And of course, Tammy Tap Tap does want her attention today.
Yeah,
Charles.
she's always wanting her attention, wanting to be fast.
So what do you, where does Tammy Tap Tap? Yeah, she does make your picks. There you go.
Yeah.
Charles couldn't overlook the Tammy Tap Tap.
I could not. She's so attractive there in this race. The 5. The 5 is my top choice though. The horse ran second last time.
Are you courting it, Tammy Tap Tap with Be My Sunshine? Tammy Tap Tap.
Mm-hmm. What a combo.
Yeah.
Cuts back in distance today. Trainer gets 23% when he rests them up 46 plus days. So, I mean, I think that 5's a nice fresh horse. It should be ready to walk and roll. And I don't mean fresh the other way. The 7 is got the speed. She ran third last time out. She drops in class. Trainer gets 21% first time on a route. So, that's not a bad percentage for, taking horses, stretching them out. So then the 8 is my third choice here. One last time out, bred for this 100%. First time Lasix, Luis Saez is aboard. So that's very dangerous there. And then the 4 is my final pick here. This horse ran third last time out. Grand Motion gets 22%. Second time on turf. He's a master when it comes to taking horses to the turf, just like Clement. Second start after a layoff for this horse, so makes a horse pretty dangerous too. And so I'm going with the $5 exacta with my top 2, Be My Sunshine and Tap Tap Tap, and then the pick 3. I'm going to take all 4 plus one more, and to the second leg, my top 2 choices. Third leg, top 2 choices.
So, Charles, in that 7th race there, my friend, I think you left the wrong one off. Venecia.
Well, I picked 3.
Yeah, I know you did. But looking at one of the benefits of doing Foreign Fridays with Tom is you learn a lot about the foreign tracks. And Chantilly, as Tom calls it, spelled Chantilly in English. Chantilly in English. Anyway, that's one of their top tracks over there, if not the top track in France. And Venecia won the debut at one of the top tracks. So that's like a horse debuting at Keeneland, debuting at Belmont, debuting at the championship meet down at Gulfstream Park, debuting at Del Mar at a top-notch track. And if you look at the class rating, debut win with the strongest class rating for any horse in this race. So the pedigree numbers say this horse is a really good horse. That first trip across a really solid track against good competition in all likelihood. Venecia, top pick for me. Might even be, if I did such a thing, my best bet of the day. Be My Sunshine last race was even better than the up speed figure would have you believe. If you look at the fractions at 1 mile and a 16th and you compare them to the 7.5 fractions in the 7.5 furlong fractions in the debut, much, much faster, going longer. Always a good sign in my book. Cloudy Bay, the 9 horse, the simulation says Cloudy Bay, 20-1 morning line, 5-2 simulation odds with a chance to be up front. I'm going to put that one in my picks as a result. I've seen too many of those that I've left off my tickets. Come crush me at the end. Finally, number 10, Miss Peabody. Never off the board on grass. Only 2 tries, of course, with a second and a third. The one time the horse did take a trip over to Keeneland track on the grass, it was a mile and a 16th closed, almost got the W at the end. Recent bullet work out here tells me that the trainer today is going to try to push Miss Peabody a little bit forward today. So I don't think you're going to see it break all the way at the back of the pack. I think you'll see a middle pack start and then try to use those aggressive legs at the end to close the deal. Strong comfort zone in this one too. Trifecta and what looks like a wide open race. 3-4-7 with the 4 and this. It's supposed to be the 5-7. I don't know what the hell I have here. It's supposed to be 3-5-9. I don't know what in the hell, Charles, am I doing with the 3 and the 5 with the 3, 5, 8, 9, and 10. I have no idea what I was typing when I was doing this. There you go. That's the accurate one. Beautiful. Thank you, Google Sheets, for allowing us to adapt in real time. The one only good thing I like from Google, aside from them stealing all of my information and then emailing me all sorts of offers I don't want. What about you, Charles?
Yeah, that's about right.
Race number 8 is 7 furlongs. This one is 7 furlongs. It's not about 7 furlongs like the one we saw earlier in the day. They're actually going to measure this one out, Charles. Allowance 110,000, non-winners of 2 lifetime. 7 furlong profile of a winner, favors early speed, as we mentioned. So far at 7 furlongs, 3 out of the 4 went wire to wire. 2 of them went from the rail, so 8 broke. If it can get to the front, got a good shot right there. And then you had a win from post 2 and 3, 1 from 4 through 7. As far as our early speed is concerned, Charles, in race number 8, where it does look like it's a factor at 7 furlongs. We got plenty of every horse in here has some chance to get the lead.
Yeah, there's plenty of speed in this race, but right now it's saying the 3 has a 33% plus chance of getting that lead at the quarter pole. And, I think so. I think this is going to be your leader going around the whole thing. But there is plenty of horses there that is going to pressure this horse. The simulation odds, the 2, is slightly under 4-1, and the morning line is 12-1, so that ain't too bad. And then the 3 itself, 2-1, and is slightly over 3.5-1 for the morning line. And then that's about it.
Strong overlay on that non-violence horse. Over the pacifist, we'll have a very good race. So will the 1 horse and the 4 horse in there. Those 2 also have high C-zone scores. And if you're new, the Z-zone score is exclusive to horse racing today, right here on Horse Racing Radar TV. It is what percent chance the horse has to get a trip that matches its previous best trips where it's performed at its peak. In the final, second to last race here, race number 8, Charles. Yesterday, they only had that many races. 1 and 3. Those 2 want to have the lead. Everybody else wants to close. At least that's the way it's looked so far. So the 1 and 3 probably are going to need the lead if they're going to get the job done. Looks like both of them might struggle to do that. Tales of Home has the most pop, at least according to the recency bias. So the 1 and 3 might find themselves in a little danger early on. Coming Home, non-violence does have some late kick. Tales of Home going to be right there with him. As far as the early speed, late speed combination, Tales of Home scoring 4 points better than the next. The 6 and the 7 standing out over the next 3, the 1, the 2, the 4, the 3, and the 5. The 4 kind of back down here, all in red by itself. So maybe a toss out on that 4, Charles. And since it's a toss out, I'm certain it's going to be your top pick.
No,
but it's my second pick. How about that?
You see, you just blew it.
I shot myself in the foot.
You just blew it.
There has to be a good reason why I did that, and we'll find out in a minute.
Yeah. Well, the 3, I like this horse, even though it shows on there that there's plenty of other horses with speed and pop out of the gate. I think they're going to rush this horse out of the gate because this is where he's going to be comfortable, is on the front end. So they got to put him in a place where he's comfortable. The trainer gets 20%. Well bet last time. Back on dirt. So I think this is my top choice. The 7, though, is my second choice here. Has speed to keep up, cuts back in distance. Another one that was well bet last time out. Trainer gets 17% when there's 46 plus days of rest. And then the 6 horse. This horse has got that tactical speed. He could go to the front. He could go from behind. I think he'll just sit right there where he needs to. And I believe there's a jockey, to my opinion, there's a jockey upgrade on this horse. And let's talk about the trainer, Stewart. He gets 9% overall. Dallas Stewart is way better than 9%. He's an excellent trainer. He does a very good job. His numbers don't reflect it right now. So I would just not pay attention to that part on that. And then the 2 horse is my final pick. This horse has some speed, back on dirt, cuts back in distance. So let's see what we do.
Race number 3, we'll go back to Arrow. In race number 3, we like the 2 for Charles, the 3 for me. We both settled on the 4 in the middle. And then we reversed the 2. His is first, mine is third in there. That's the way we see that. Both of us agreeing the 1 horse is going to finish in 4th. But when we went back and did the review on that, the 6 horse could be kind of dangerous in there. That one has a really strong score. And looking at the odds right now, looks like this is a pretty open race. The 2 horse was the 8-5 morning line favorite, kind of drifted up to 2-1 so far. So that kind of tells you that the bettors are uncertain on who's going to win, because no one horse is taking on all the money. In race number 8 for me, the second to last race of the day, I am going to start out with non-violence. If you look at the horse's race cycles, it ran 3 races. It came out on the debut, won. Next race came out, went up in class, finished second after holding the lead to the end. And then 3rd race, it kind of gave it up. So youngster got tired by the 3rd race, went back to the bench, refreshed, coming back out. If it can run either one of its first 2 career starts, probably takes home the paycheck today for the winner. It also has that really strong C-zone score in there. Take Care of the 4 horse. Okay, the one that I made fun of. Now I know why I put this one in here. It and the 6 horse, Tales of Home, are the only 2 that have been competing at this level. All the others were competing in like optional claiming. So if this one could just run back to the race where he won, which is his best race, would make easy work of this field, I feel like. And if you look at the workouts, they were kind of blah while the horse was running blah. And the most recent workout sharpened up a lot. So I think you're going to see a return to form for Take Care today. So those numbers that we saw might be a little bit misleading earlier on. Number 3, Send It For Me. Didn't like at all running on the all-weather track in its last race. So going back to the 3 prior sprints on dirt, they fit very nicely with this group. And then finally, the 5 horse Braganza was a really hard call for me over that 6 horse, but it did run the top last race speed figure, so outperformed the 6 last time out. And since then, has some swift workouts. So I think you'll see that horse continue to be sharp. $1 double, the 4 and the 7, going to try to beat some of those favorites in there with the 1, 2, 9, and 10. And I'm certain I spent too much money today because I was kind of cobbling it together at the last minute. I probably went over by about $5-6, and I haven't heard from Terry yet. So I'm not sure.
Come on, Terry, get on that, because we know Rich cheats all the time. Come on.
Yeah, I can cheat by picking horses. It is.
Yeah,
like,
you're not by picking horses.
I understand, Charles. I'm a cheat code. I know I got all this information, and I'm always examining stuff and trying to find new angles to stuff. And we got more coming. I'm telling you, it's a matter of putting together some funding, folks. We're going to do a Kickstarter campaign to get some funding so that we can put all of this stuff together for every single race, and then add some even more granularity, which will give you a really good look at everything from the beginning to the end of the race, to the pre-race, to the actual race, how the race might lay out, what post positions, the track, the surface, which jockeys, trainers do best. I mean, we're really going to try to provide not necessarily picks, but a great bunch of visual information so that even a 5-year-old like Charles could look at it and figure out which one might have a chance to win. In race number 9, they're going to run a mile and a 3/16 on the turf. Charles, they have not done one like this yet to date. So keep an eye out on how the other longer turf races go. I would suspect that it'll play out like some other routes where forwardly placed horses have done better than horses that come from off the pace, but neither running style is necessarily a plus or a minus. It's a $100,000 purse, Charles, early speed wise in the final race number 9. We see that the outside horses, the also eligibles, none of which are in this race. So if you're looking for the fast ones, looks like that's all on the inside.
Yeah, we got the 2 at 28% chance of having that lead at the quarter pole. Probably most likely the 2 will be out there winging it, but not for my liking. I think this horse will be going backwards at the end of this race.
Yeah, he'll be able to run backwards and still beat them, is what you're saying.
No,
You got to turn around and go ass first to the finish line so he can see who he's beating.
So. The 1 is simulation odds. We got just slightly under 2-1, and we have 4.5 to 1 odds morning line. Terry, go and recalculate that, buddy. The 2.
Hey, can I tell you something? Terry and I'm going to tell you something, and it's just the God's honest truth. I put things together in a hurry, and I think I did the math right. And I got to the point where when I would say something to Terry, I think your math is wrong. I think we went through this 100 times, and Terry was right on all 100. So finally, one day, I'm like, yeah, you're probably right, Terry. And then I went and looked it up, and it was the first time out of like 100 times I was right. When we're billionaires, Charles, from this business, unquestionably, Terry is the accountant. There's just, that's a unanimous top down, nobody Fidel Castro-like decision from me. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So I don't know where I was, but I think the 2 slightly over 2-1, and the morning line is 10-1.
I don't think knowing where you are is an unusual state.
Pretty much. You're correct, because I'm always having winners, and I just don't know what to do with all this money. Anyway, that's it when it comes to simulation odds. There's a lot of C zones, a lot of people, a lot of horses here, I should say. Looks like they like it overall.
Yeah, Charles, we're big with the jokes today. All right, so none of the outside horses are in after the 12. So the 13 was never been close to begin with. 16 looked like it was going to be a closer. The 14 and the 15 we're going to add to speed. So that looks like the 2, the 11, and the 10 could benefit from the lack of other speed that might have been in this race, the 14 of which is going to be not in. That means that 2-horse, Keeneland, is going to be out front. Charles might be able to turn backwards and go ass first to the finish line, the way that one's got that early speed. Although, that 14 not being in, it also has some good late pace in there too, Charles. Perhaps not as good as the 10-horse or the 9-horse, Missionaire or Karoom. Dr. Kringle looking like it has some pace too, but all of these horses have plenty of late pace. So I think the way this race looks on paper, the horses that are middle forward that have some of these late pace numbers might be where you find your winner. And then if you look at the combination, that 2-horse, Keeneland, with the 15 out, Charles, has an 11-point advantage, early pace, late pace advantage over the 5-horse, Son of Thunder. This 2-horse might be the one that can go off at a decent price and find the big check. Charles, you disagree with me.
Here is where's the 12 on there?
Where is the 12 on there? The 12 is right here.
Right there, but
no, all the way at the bottom, Charles. Border War. Should say.
I was like, I didn't see it.
Should say bad. Anyway, go ahead. But
no,
and it could be too, because it's all data, right? It doesn't take out some of the outliers,
right?
Because you have to account for if a horse has run a bomb of a race, you can't just toss it out.
No,
because the possibility exists that it can run another bomb.
Right, exactly. I just didn't see it, and I'm all like, maybe it didn't throw it in the data. I don't know, but with that being all said,
yeah, I told you never question Terry's math, man. He's down to he's a down to the penny guy. I promise you.
Well, he's only called me out one time for 25 cents. The 12 is my top choice here. And because this one would be closing at the end, this one ran second the last 2 times. You got a hot trainer the last 14 days. You got the hottest jockey aboard this horse. And I see him winning this race. The 10 itself is my second choice. Horse has some speed, ran second last time. Clement and Rosario combo, as always, is very, very dangerous. And the 8 is my third choice. Ran even last time, adds the blinkers, second start after a layoff. And then the 1 is my final choice here. Ran third. He was IRAD is aboard, and this is his second start on the Dam had 1 winners with 2 starters, from this.
You sound like you could be president. Number 2.
No kidding there. I was just like lost on that one. I couldn't even read half my own writing.
Keeneland, well, maybe they can submit it to you beforehand. Keeneland going to go to turf, which might help for this particular race. Has some very strong late pace numbers and really should be up on front. So, I mean, all of the race should really work out. Pretty strong overlay as well. Number 1, Gentleman ran the top last race speed figure in its debut with a solid, consistent performance from end to end. And let me pull this up on the screen right here just to kind of show you what I mean with this one horse. If you look here, you see a lot of times you see when a horse comes out, the early pace, the late pace. A lot of times you'll see when a horse comes out, and these are actually pretty good early pace numbers for a mile and a 16th. They're pretty solid. That's a pretty good. Those are pretty good horse numbers right there. A lot of times though, you'll see this number when you see pretty good numbers here, just kind of take a nosedive. It did not take a nosedive. For example, you can kind of see that here, the 98, 98, and the 66 took a little bit of a nosedive in that first off the bench. So when you see a first-time starter that does this, make a note of that because that's usually a pretty good sign of a pretty good horse. Number 10 is my third choice in there. Missionaire has a lot of late pace in its debut. So the horse kind of got off to a sluggish start. And then second half of the race decided it wanted to run. So the next time out, what do? They said, let's send the horse. The horse runs up to the front for the first half of the race and then dies in the second half of the race. Well, I shouldn't say die, horse racing, faded in the second half of that race. Well, this is the third race. So maybe today they go a little bit moderate on both ends to connect the big inning to the back. And when they do, this horse is going to win. And that not today necessarily, but when they do connect the ability to go early and go late. And finally, Karoom, tough call over some of the other horses in here for me. But this one closed like a maniac in his last 2 turf tries and tried to do the same thing in its debut. But sometimes the horses in the debut, a little bit scared, Charles, right? Don't necessarily run.
Yeah, they're a little bit scared about everything.
Especially when they're way back and all kinds of stuff is picking up. And I understand that the grass, the mud, and all that kind of stuff can be a little bit uncomfortable for horses. Hasn't happened to me yet, but maybe that'll be a prank that we do. I'll run down the stretch and people can throw dirt and grass at me so I don't know what it's like to be a horse. I'm going to do a trifecta with the 1, 2, those 2 inside horses, 1, 2, and 10. 1, 2, 9, 10, 12. There's your 12, Charles. It's going to finish in the trifecta for me. And that's all of our picks for today. Unfortunately, Thomas had something come up and had to cancel for tomorrow. So there will not be a Foreign Friday, but there will be a Jackpot Saturday with myself, Charles, and Terry, as we'll go after the largest carryover, wherever that may be. If it's a pick 6, a pick 5, or a pick 4. And if there's not a big carryover, then we'll just focus on one of the bigger tracks where we know the money pools will be deep and try to hit the late pick 4, something along those lines.
Maybe we should do another show at Keeneland because that's the last day of Keeneland, closing day. Yeah,
unfortunately, I got some stuff to do tomorrow now that Thomas has taken the day off. Otherwise, I would consider, if you and Terry want to do it, you're more than welcome to do so. So, Terry, if you got a thumbs up, let me know. I'll get you guys all the information that you need to make it happen, if that's the case. Outside of that, Charles, next week is Kentucky Derby week. If you're going to do the Derby, make sure you head on over to Guaranteed Tip Sheet. We put together a great package. You can see right here, the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, the Belmont Stakes, and the Breeders' Cup. The 4 biggest days of American horse racing right there. One package, half price, all of the wagering guides, all of the picks, all of the information that we have available. Make sure you take advantage of that. And today, we did everybody a favor. We went ahead and made Gulfstream Park a nice track, the free track of the day. You can see in the first race, probably over by now, Downburst was the top pick. There is a link in the description down below. Please make sure you use that to head on over there. And if you didn't catch it last night, we had on David Cohen from Horse Center with Jamie and Sean. Fantastic guest, as always. And I'm sure that, Terry, he's probably going to come out to Golden Gate sometime soon, right? See?
I'm sure he is.
Well, you can see, Terry, come and be the leading jockey at Golden Gate Field. So,
okay, could I say something real quick here? Actually, 2 things, but the horse, your free horse pick at Gulfstream did won the first race at 920 to win.
Nice number, 920 to win.
Yeah, my second thing I want to mention is David Cohen did ride for me as I was a trainer. He was a bug boy, and I put him on a lot of not a lot of horses, but I put him on a fair share of horses, and he did very well for me. Back then, he was just like any typical young person trying out for a new job, very enthusiastic, very go-getter. Sometimes he wore his emotions on his sleep, but that's a young person trying to do the best they can and try to. And like he even mentioned last night in the show, he was brought up in a jockey colony that was nothing but Hall of Famers, all of them. So little intimidating, if you ask me. So he did very well as a bug boy there, and then he moved on, and he's done very well in his career.
Yeah, and you know, that can be intimidating. I know that must be how you feel, Charles, working with me on a daily basis. And you've done a great job of it. We
so intimidated. I think we should go to the third.
As you should be. Yeah, the third race is coming up again tomorrow. We won't be around unless Terry and Charles want to get together and do Keeneland without me muddling things up. And then Monday, Terry and I will return as we always do it with Parks. Tuesday will be Parks. One of those days in there, we'll try to squeeze in Churchill so we can get prepped for Churchill Downs for the Kentucky Derby. I think Thursday night, we're going to try to get together and do a Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Oaks double preview. You're going to want to make sure you do not miss that. And the best way to make sure you don't miss it is to do what, Mr. Charles?
Subscribe and hit that little bell so you get alerted when the show is actually coming on.
Mm-hmm. And I
want to say the gate, by the way.
Want to say thank you to Philip Heidenreich. I probably got that right. The German blood in me. Jay Marco, Philip Perkins. Jay, I hadn't had a chance to get to the post office earlier in the week. Just some goofy stuff. But today, as soon as we hang up here, a little bit of cleaning up, and then I'm off to the post office. I will shortly post on. I'll have Sean post a picture of the money order. Won't put your address or anything like that. We're going to get that out to you today, along with the hat and the T-shirt out to David as well. To Dustin and Fat Growth. So keep an eye out for that. When you get it, Jay, we'd appreciate it. Little picture of it and post it on your social sites so people know that, you know, we're telling the truth. All right, which we do. Race number 3, the 2-horse has busted out to the lead, Charles. In race number 3, we had who do we have on the lead in race number 3, Charles? Well, we didn't have the 2-horse, that's for sure. Well,
I did.
Yeah. Race number 3 on the front. Yeah. We had him winning, but not necessarily on the lead. He had a small chance to get the lead, but he took the lead today. Followed by the 3-horse, which is another one we thought might have the lead. The 4-horse is the one we thought might be on the front. They went through the opening quarter in 7 furlongs in 22 and almost 23 seconds, which might be a little bit touch on the quick side, Charles. At least that's a kind of a, but the 2-horse is starting to pull away from the pack there. The only one that looks like it's going to give it any trouble might be the 4-horse, although the 7-horse, that Fast and Happy, the one I took out of my picks, Charles.
Well, in my pick 4, I have the 2 and the 4, so I'm rooting for 2 and the 4.
Well, it's going to be the 2-horse. There's just no question about that.
The 2 is going to win for fun.
Yeah, he's looking between his legs, Arden's Assault, and making easy work of this field. And that 7-horse, the one that I threw out, Charles, like I knew I shouldn't have, that one's the one coming on. And again, you know, once again, we see a horse with an overlay but it went off at 7-2. So we thought it might come down in odds. That 2-horse is going to be your winner, Charles. Did I put the 2 in my picks there? I did not. I went with the 3 and the 4. I threw the 2 out. So my pick 4 is dead in the water. Your pick 4 is still alive. So good luck with that, Charles, the rest of the way. And hopefully the rest of the way, we both have some winners, and that no matter what anybody else is doing today or tomorrow, Charles, if you and Terry get back together again, till we see each other on Saturday, no matter what everybody's doing, we hope that you got God's favor and that all of your picks, your work, your things that you aspire to do all end up in
the winner circle.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us again today. Look forward to getting back together again. Have a fantastic Thursday.